my name is Beverley Ward, and I would like to share with you some of my Christmas sewing projects that I've made over the years. Let me just share my screen with you and you'll see some of the projects that I've made, and I'll talk you through some of the techniques I've used to make them. Right, so this is a table mat that I made on my embroidery machine. All the different Santas and all their different expressions. Look, this one's laughing and it has the Merry Christmas on it. So that looks lovely on a coffee table that I have. This is a Christmas wreath made from 8 different fabrics, made into a circle and then stuffed, and then I've wound it round and round with ribbon here to give it its shape and put a pretty bow on the top. This wreath on the left was made from a printed panel. You cut the panel out, sew it together, stuff it and put your bow on the top, so all the hard work is done and it's already this nice petal shape when you cut it out. On the right hand side we've got a star here made from different Christmas fabrics, diamond shapes just sewn together and made into a star. This is a rag wreath. It's not a terribly good picture of it, but I've got a better one, I think, on the next slide. This is made from strips of fabric, and you have a metal florist ring underneath, and you can see here where I've tied this to the metal ring underneath. So all those strips of fabric are all tied to the ring, and then I've decorated the bottom of it with some Christmas bits and pieces there. This wreath was made at a workshop. Heart shapes were cut out and hand sewn. Each one was hand sewn around the edges like that. And I used pinking shears to cut the shapes out. Again, applied to a florist ring and decorated with some little wooden buttons here. These are great fun to make, and I've done workshops with the girls to make these. Well, not I say workshops, friends of mine, because they like them so much. They're all made from polystyrene balls. They have a base of a polystyrene ball, and then whatever fabric you put on the top, you can either pin it. On this one, it's been pinned, so the fabric has been cut and then shaped, folded and shaped, and then pinned to the polystyrene ball here. This one, I scored the polystyrene ball down in about 6 or 8 scores down, and I cut the fabric the same shape as the scores that I've made, and then you just poke your fabric into the score mark that you've made. I normally cut it down with a Stanley knife or something like that so that it makes a groove, and you can just poke your fabric in, and then you decorate the top with some ribbons and a loop on the top to hang it up with. I see the one on the top here has got a little Hessian ribbon on the top there. I think I cut that off of a big piece of Hessian and just made it into a bow. You can actually see the little pins I've used on this one here where the fabric is folded and held down. Here's some more of the baubles that I made. The ones on the left use a cone shape underneath, and again I've folded the fabric and pinned it all down so they look like fir cones on that one. This was a cross stitch that I did, and it was done actually over very many years. I used to take it on holiday with me, and if I wanted something to do of an evening or during the day while I was on holiday, I would do a little bit of cross stitching. Probably took me about 10 years to finish it, but I got there in the end. And I think it was well worth it. He's a really jolly Santa, and he's got all his toys in his sack on his back. These little wreaths were made obviously from patchwork fabric again, but the base of it was quite a stiff, sort of almost like a card come fabric that you cover, and then you sew them all together and then stuff them. This one here has been decorated with a few little beads and some bows, and then the hanging ribbon loop on the top. These two Christmas trees made in slightly different ways. The one on the left was made of triangle shapes joined together and then stuffed, and then the bows were sewn on. And the one on the right was folded. The fabric was folded like with origami, and then the triangles were then sewn together. And I made the pot out of some felt. Again, little things to hang on your Christmas tree, folded fabric, different, one colour, light on one side and dark on the other. Few little beads on here. These are called Suffolk puffs. You'd have a circle of fabric and you gather it in the middle. And then I've had a base of card, 2 pieces of card, that I then put together, sandwiched together, and put the bow on the front. So I did the same on the other side, so they're reversible. You can see on the bottom here, I put a little Father Christmas and a snowman on this one. And this one has a piece of lace that I put between the 2 circles of Suffolk puff and put a bow on the front with a little bell hanging down at the bottom. These are pieces of card that I've covered. So I would have cut all the triangular pieces to make each one of these individually and covered them with fabric. So they probably would have been stuck on the back and then all sewn together by hand down here and across here, and to make the shape. And also the same with the bell, would have been a piece of card that shape, which I then covered and hand sewn around the edges. Here's some more I've done. This one is quite fun to do. This is lots of tiny little Suffolk puffs joined together with a piece of elastic in the center of it. So you put in a piece of elastic through and then just hang your ribbon on the top, or you could put a piece of ribbon through. But it's nice to use up your scraps of fabric. Some more of the Suffolk puff ones. You can see here, these have got little different sort of bells on the bottom, but they're fun to make and hang on your tree. This I actually didn't make, but I wanted to include it because I think it is so beautiful. It's a tree skirt, was made by a very dear friend of mine, using all her different Christmas fabrics, and it looks absolutely amazing under the tree, and it's slightly padded, so it just looks wonderful. These are Father Christmas and an angel that I made from the Tilda books. Tilda makes beautiful fabrics. I love all her fabrics. I've made lots of things using Tilda fabrics, and she has these dolls that you can make and dress, and she does the stands for them. The fabrics come not only in Christmas fabrics, but in all sorts of different fabrics. And on the right, you can see there a fawn that I've made just in a plain fabric, and I had to strengthen the legs with wire so that he would stand up. And of course, Christmas wouldn't be the same without a Christmas stocking. They made these for the grandchildren. Again, these were from a printed panel, and I've put wadding in between. So you cut out the front of the stocking, and then I cut a piece of Christmas fabric the same shape and put it on the back and put wadding in between. And then I've quilted all around here, you can see, with the gold thread on my sewing machines, all quilted around there. And then I made another pair to put on the back. So in actual fact, we've got like 4 layers of fabric. And then I bound it around the top there, and then joined both pieces together with the binding all around the edge. And my eldest grandson is Charlie, and I've embroidered his name on his stocking there. And then when his brother came along, he had one as well, which is Miles. My other grandson is Jacob, and there's his stocking on the left. And you can see on the right how I've made the back of it. So this was a separate piece of fabric, and you can see I've quilted it into diamond shapes. So this is on the back and that is on the front. and then it's bound around the edges. Oh, sorry about that. These are some pinwheels that I made with folded fabric. Remember I was telling you about the polystyrene? Well, this polystyrene is a circle, a flat circle, and these folded pieces of fabric are pinned to it. And then I've covered a self-covered button, and I fussy cutted my fabric. So I picked a piece of fabric that had a star on it so that it would make a nice decoration for the center of it. And these are little angels that I made, all hand done, made from felt and fabric. And I think you can probably see them up behind me. If you've got me in a little window, you can see them hanging up there on the right of your screen. These are some large radiant stars that I made. This is 60 pieces of card with a piece of wadding on the top, and then each one is covered individually with patchwork fabric. On the one on the left, I made, you can see here, 5 of each colour, and then I joined them together to make this part of the star. And there's another 5 here and another 5 here. And then I made a matching self-covered button to put in the centre here. The one on the right used up all odds and ends of fabric that I made. Again, all hand sewn. All around here, each piece is individually hand sewn together. They take a very long time to make. Again, over the piece of card, another Christmas decoration that you could hang on the tree, and some other ideas. Piece of square card, and you can buy patchwork fabric that has these sort of squares on it, so you can cut your squares out and cover your pieces of card with it. It will be the same on the other side. I think on the back of these it was probably plain, because you can just hang them on a wall or on a window. And I've made these little heart shapes to go with it. So, and hung some large bells on the bottom there. Well, this one, I would never want to make another one of these. This large bauble is made from circles of fabric, 2 circles, one on the top of one colour and one on the bottom of the other. And then you fold the pieces back to make the triangular shapes. And then you sew them together and stuff your ball. But it was not one of my better projects, but got there in the end. These are fun to make. Brenda Walker does the most lovely designs. She did the angels that I showed you earlier. I bought a kit to make this one on the left-hand side. And each one of these, they're like, that's a small circle, medium circle, large circle of fabric shaped around the edge. And what you do is you cut all your individual pieces of fabric and you adhere them to a special fabric called heat and bond. So your fabric then sticks to the heat and bond. And then I've sewn herringbone stitches all the way around the outside to join all these separate little pieces together, and made a dangly outer ribbon for the bottom and decorated the top with a little wooden star. Well, I enjoyed making that, and I thought, well, I must be able to simplify this. So off I went down to the patchwork shop and found some ready-made patchwork fabric with all the shapes already done. And then it was easy just to make 3 circles, shape it around the bottom, and hey presto, there were 4 more. These were 3 Father Christmases, again from a kit that Brenda Walker made, all hand sewn. His nose is made from a wooden bead that was cut in half, and the facial features were just painted on with a pen. This is a banner. Each of the little reindeer was made individually and stuffed, and Father Christmas in his sleigh. So you would have had the pattern pieces. Each pattern piece would have been cut out individually and applied, and then sewn with, it's probably on the sewing machine, I think I did this, with a blanket stitch all around each of the individual pieces, and then the whole thing was cut out and a back was made for it, sewn together and stuffed, and the reindeers would have been done in the same way. And I think I've sewn around here, you can see a little, I've sewn around here in a brown thread to give the illusion of the top of the leg there. Again, with a little decorated with the little bells and things. Some more individually made Christmas things to hang on the tree, Christmas decorations. They're quite fun to make. You know, you cut each one out individually, make a back for it, and then embroider the little features on and sew the hearts on there. This one, obviously, you cut out the wing individually. 2 pieces again. You can see how I've blanket stitched around the edge of this one and put an eye on it. Some more of the same type of thing, just a different set. They're just different ones. I rather like this one on the left here. And so another set that I made. And these are Christmas stockings made into a banner, and I normally hang that across our double doors that actually they're just behind me here, that as we walk from the dining room into the lounge. I hang them across the top of the door at Christmas time. Again, it was from a printed piece of fabric, and you cut out all the individual stockings and put a back on them, and little piece of ribbon to hang them with. And I've actually hung them onto a piece of string with a little tiny wooden peg. These are made from what's called jelly roll strips, which is a piece of fabric, comes in a roll, and there would be all Christmas designs in the roll, and it's 2.5 inches wide. And you put wadding on the inside, fold it all over, and then you machine stitch them together. You can see each one of those has been machine stitched together, and because it has wadding inside, it makes it quite rigid, and then you can cut it to the shape and bind the edges. You can see I've bound the edges here. So this is actually a triangular shape, so I've got 3 of these, and I've sewn them together down each of the sides and decorated with these little wooden houses, and again used my wooden stars on the top there. This was a wall hanging, came as a kit. I picked it up at a sewing show. Remember I showed you the Suffolk puffs? Well, these are the Suffolk puffs again. In the centre of each one is a button, and you might be wondering what this press and seal is. Press and seal is meant for sandwiches, but when you do patchwork, you can lay it on the top of your piece of patchwork, and it sticks to the piece of patchwork. You can draw on it. So I drew on it, and then I machined over the top of where I'd drawn on it. So doing all this crazy work here, and then you pull off the press and seal at the end, and you've got your design left there. So you could I could have done flowers, I could have done anything on there. And it's got the squares of patchwork around the outside, and a bought frame on the top here. This has a wooden pole here, and I've made a sleeve for it on the back there so that I can just hang it up anywhere. This was a dining table runner that I made, or 2 that I made. The one on the left was for my son and daughter-in-law, because their table was shorter, so I did them a shorter one. And my table was quite long, as you can see, so I made the longer one for my own dining room table. Squares of different pale fabrics, Christmassy fabrics here, and using all the different fabrics, Christmas fabrics around the edges. And then the tree shapes are applied afterwards, and I've hand stitched around the outside with gold embroidery thread and put a gold star on the top. You can see the pieces cut out there. You can see the pieces ready there. I must have been sorting them, so I must have put all the fabrics out and thought, well, yes, I like that arrangement. And these are the pale ones here, and these are my Christmas trees that I made. And you can see on the bottom left here, I've put here "Made for William and Nikki" by Beverley Ward, and it was Christmas 2014 with love. So that's a nice reminder, and I put that onto the back of this table runner. Now these are fun. What fun I had making this. This was 64 different pieces of fabric, and you can see I've sorted the fabric here on the left, put all the similar colours together. You can see I started with the dark ones here with the red ones and then the cream ones, and there's sort of a mixture here. And each one of these is made individually. So you cut the shape like an elongated triangle shape here, and you sew one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And you can see here on this, in this picture, where I've got the green section and the blue sort of into the navy blue section together there. And then there are, I think, 8 sections. So you sew all the 8 sections together. And underneath here is a foam shape, and it has a plywood bottom here. So you, with a hole in it, so that you put this whole thing covers over the top of it, over the top of this onto the hardboard, and you staple it at the bottom and put your legs in. And I've covered a great big button at the top there and pulled it down through the hole in the bottom of this piece of board at the bottom to pull it down to make it the tuffet shape. I've got a few more photos coming up of the different sides of it, so you can see all the different colours in it. This is the more creamy side of it, and you can see some golds there. And this is the green. This is the green and the blue. I showed you in the previous picture. And of course, we have to have the advent calendars for the children. This is for Jacob, and there's a little picture of my grandson there. So I also made this, which is a resin star that I immersed a photograph of him into the resin and waited for the resin to set overnight. And then I actually hung it on his advent calendar. These are pre-printed and done just like the Christmas stockings. So I would have put wadding underneath here, and each one of these will be sewn round different shapes to quilt it and give it definition. And 3 hanging loops on the top, and I normally put a pole through there with a wire that hangs on the top, or a ribbon that hangs on the top. And each of these pockets is made by folding the fabric down here. Each one is folded, and then it's sewn, and sewn all around the edge. And then you can put Christmas coins in there, or gifts, or whatever you want to put in there. And I've made them for the other grandchildren as well. I'll skip through them quite quickly, but just to give you an idea of the sort of things you can make just from pre-printed panels. So there's a couple more. In actual fact, these I didn't give to the grandchildren because these I hang around my room. So it's instant decoration. Instead of hanging up all streamers, I hang up my advent calendars, and you can see the piece of wood along the top here and the string that's holding it up. I have these little half moon shaped lights, wall lights. So I just hang one of those over the wall lights. And so there's a mixture in here of advent calendars for the children and advent calendars to decorate the house. So I'll carry on and show you some of the others. These 2 I gave away to my son and his girlfriend. They fell in love with them the last time they came round, so they got taken. A couple more that I hang up. Sometimes I put coins and things in here for my husband and I as well. So we have a Christmas treat on the days leading up to Christmas. I think these were a couple that I made for their grandchildren. The one on the right is actually, I made this into a wall hanging. I don't know whether you can see behind me, I have a wall hanging. Well, this wall hanging is the same size as the one behind me, and I hang it on the wall there at Christmas, the 12 days of Christmas. I also do a lot of machine embroidery, and these were some lights that I made out of organza, red and green organza, and you can see the little lights coming through there. And you can see the battery pack here that lights them up. And some Christmas bells made from freestanding lace. I've added some gold into here for, added clarity to the designs on there. And put bows on them. This one I think has a snowman on it, and poinsettia, and this one's Father Christmas. What the embroidery machine does, it embroiders with silks onto a water-soluble fabric. And then once the embroidery is finished, you put the embroidery into some tepid water, and all the background disappears, and it leaves you with this lovely freestanding lace. I know this is not Christmas, but this was another one that I did when William and Nikki got married. I gave them some bells. 12 Days of Christmas again. This is a door hanging. It goes from the top of my glass door to the bottom. So I hang it at the top. 12 Days of Christmas. You can see all machine embroidered here. You cut them out, and I've applied them to a ribbon there. Some more decorations. These ones on the left are done on felt, and you can see I've strung them together so you can hang them up. And gingerbread men. These are embroidered onto felt. They're embroidered flat, and then you fold. They're in 4 pieces, and each piece is folded up and tied at the top there, and then you can put a loop on here. You can see the loops here, and you can hang them on your Christmas tree. Another banner. I made this one for my daughter-in-law, my other daughter-in-law. She loves gingerbread men, so I did it using the same technique with the little tiny peg there. And Father Christmas in his sleigh. I didn't make the Father Christmas, but made the sleigh in the freestanding lace. And this is quite a nice idea. This is another freestanding lace decoration, and I put a little bow on the front. And this is a gift card, so it opens up, made of a piece of card, and inside it has a piece of elastic that goes horizontally across, and you can put a gift voucher in there, or I don't know, some money if you want to give someone some money for Christmas. And another freestanding lace banner and a Christmas tree. And angels, freestanding lace angels. More angels. I've done an awful lot of freestanding lace. This little pram is really lovely, isn't it? And the wheelbarrow and the bird. I'll skip through these because I think I've got quite a lot to show you in the freestanding lace, and I don't want to bore you to tears with just more and more pictures of freestanding lace. This one on the left here is a candle holder, so you can get one of those candles that has a battery in it, and you can put that inside, and then the light will shine through, which is quite nice. You can make bookmarks like this one on the left here. You could give as gifts to friends. And these are very tiny little things you can hang on a tree. If you've only got a very small tree, these are about 1 inch in height, so they can go on a very small tree. Again, very tiny ones. Angels again this time. More angels. And these are patio door hangers. It has a little rubber sucker on the top there, and then it stops people walking through a patio door. They're all done in the same way. And different sorts of freestanding lace Christmas decorations. I suppose they're probably 3 or 4 inches tall, all of these. And then there's a big star for the top of the tree. More decorations. These ones are called Battenberg lace. They have a more sort of frilly appearance. You can do bells here. You can see it's just, I think I got a bit carried away, but when you have a big Christmas tree, you need lots of decorations. These ones are again made from felt, and I've put some check ribbon on the top, and I made one for a friend of mine, and I put her daughter's name in the bottom of it there. Can you see Olivia there? This one's made of felt, and this is a lace angel, again done on the water-soluble fabric, but I've used gold organza on this piece and this piece and this piece, and then embroidered on that, and the wings and this part of her dress is in freestanding lace. And if you don't wash the fabric out too much, the water-soluble fabric, it acts like a starch so that the angel will stand up. And these are 3 more angels done on the embroidery machine. They join together with these little pips here. So each one of these sections is made individually. These were embroidered onto some satin fabric that I had. And then there's Harry and Hetty the owls. Again, each piece of this was done on the embroidery machine and joined together individually. Those are probably 18 inches tall, so they're quite tall. And there's Santa's mat. I gave each of my sons has one of these, and they put it out Christmas Eve, and the grandchildren leave Santa something to drink and something to eat. When they come down in the morning, of course, it's all gone because Daddy's eaten it, but we don't tell them that. And a couple more machine embroidered pieces. Another 2 more trees done on the embroidery machine. So when you do this one, it would embroider this top piece, and then you cut that piece out, and then it would embroider the next piece to join to that piece, and then you build the whole thing up in a hoop. Quite fun to do. This was another Christmas tree skirt that I made, but it was so lovely. I actually joined it all together, and I thought I could make a nice mat to put in the center there, and it would make a lovely table decoration. And each one of these little scenes is different. Each of the snowmen is different, and I've used different fabrics using applique and my embroidery machine to make this tree skirt. And some mats, Christmas mats, done on the embroidery machine. And there's the Santa table mat that we saw, coffee table mat that we saw to start with. And place mats with, done with applique and a wall hanging. This was a tree that I made to show off some beading that I was doing, because I had all these little beaded plates, I don't know what you'd call them, little squares of beading and Christmas crackers, and I wanted some means of showing them off. So I cut a Christmas tree, a large Christmas tree, quilted it all in diamonds, and just sewed the little panels and on there. Well, that's the end of my Christmas sewing. I hope you've enjoyed it and have enjoyed watching it, and hopefully you'd like to watch some of my other ones that I've done. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.